Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 26th day of October, and happy to be here once again with you to share a few words. I read once where it said that choices determine the direction of our lives. And so we need to stop and ask ourselves, what direction is life heading for us? What direction is our life heading in? I was always or as long as I can remember anyway, a proponent of the fact that there's no such thing as I didn't have a choice in this, or I didn't have a choice in that. We always have a choice. No matter what direction we move in, there's always a choice involved. And it all depends on what direction we want to move in at the time. There are three reasons to do anything. And I read this in, I think, Matthew Kelly's book. It's Messy, I can't even think of the name of it. Life is Messy, I think it is. Life is Messy. And he mentions that there are three things that make our choices good, okay, to do anything. And he said, first of all, that choices, if they fall into these three categories, then that's the choice we should make. If our choice is morally good, for example, if it has to do with love or virtue or justice, well then it's a morally correct choice to make. If that choice has to do with if it's practically necessary, for example, like eating or sleeping or drinking or working to support your family, those things are necessary. Or if it makes you happy. Those three things. If it's morally good, if it's practically necessary, or if it makes you happy. Those three things decide whether the choice we should make is the right choice to make. And think about it. Think about any choice that we make outside of those choices, how they reflect on us. And sometimes choices can be very difficult. I remember thinking when I was a little boy, I remember my father wasn't at a whole lot of the activities I went to. I wasn't at when I first made CYO basketball. Didn't come to our basketball game. He missed when I was in the spelling bee at school. Didn't come to that. When I was in an oratory contest, didn't come to that. When I was on the varsity, our 8th grade varsity team, didn't come to that. And I was thinking in terms of my mom was there. My mom was there. But did he care? Did he love us? Did I matter? And then I remembered an incident years ago when I was a little boy. I was fairly small. I must have been 6 or 7 years old. And I remember 6 years old, maybe 7, yeah. I remember my father coming back from work and giving my mom his paycheck. And my mom giving him 10 cents, so he could get a bottle of beer for the weekend. Because that's about what we had, that's about what he had left. And I thought, after the fact, because it didn't dawn on me then when I was 6 or 7, but after the fact, when I was thinking back on all of these, the thoughts when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I was thinking, my father had to do those things. My father chose to work. He was at work all the time. And when he came home from work, he would sometimes sleep, depending on what he was doing. He would sleep for a couple of hours, get supper with us, sleep for a couple of hours, and go right back to work again for another shift at work where he worked. And I said he had to do this day in and day out and day in and day out. Had to do it. He had to make a choice to do that, to put food on our table. Had to make that choice instead of being at our basketball games. They had to make a choice to work, to keep a roof over our heads, to pay the rent, which was due every month on the dot. Had to make a choice to work so he could get clothes that weren't always as hand-me-downs, for his 4 kids. And I thought, he had to do this for something more than just 10 cents for a bottle of beer. He made a choice. And it might not have been worthwhile to him it seemed worthwhile to him but I think in the long run it was worthwhile for him that he chose work, and it was the right choice for us as well that he chose work. So no matter what I had to complain, no matter what all these complaints that I might have had in my thought, all these thoughts I might have had in my head were not founded, weren't giving him a fair shake. And it made me look differently at Dad for a lot of other things. I think that culminated when just before my ordination I got a note from him that said, "Dear Steve, I wish I could tell you how proud I am of you." You know, my first letter in 50-something years from him, and it was that. So it was a wonderful experience. Making choices, I'm sure it fell under the Article 2. It was necessary, like eating, drinking, working to support your family. You know, but he did it with love in his heart, I think, also because he loved his family. That's the reason what motivated him to do it, and hopefully it made him happy to do so. You know, my prayer for all of you as we think about our own life is that we think in terms of what direction is our life moving in. Make choices. Let's not make excuses for the choices we make, but let's make choices and let's live our lives accordingly. And may those choices reflect the direction our life is moving in, the direction we want our life to move in, to be good, to be better, to be the best that we can be. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for us. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for you.